Well, sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Tyler Myers? Ay. So the Vancouver Canucks have just come back, and they drop a 3-1 game against the Vegas Golden Knights. And I know there's a lot of anticipation and hype for this Vancouver team post Kevin Lankinen signing and heading into this, let's just say, mini playoff battle for points like we are seeing here. Vancouver drops 2 available points at the start of this back-to-back scenario. They're playing off against the Utah Hockey Club later tomorrow, which is going to be kind of scary considering the fact that Utah is right there on the Vancouver Canucks' tail in the NHL wildcard standings. However, we should be a little bit thankful that the Utah Hockey Club did not score any points tonight against the LA Kings. They lost 5-3. Barrett Hayton got a hat trick, first hat trick ever in Utah history, but Utah, like the Canucks, end up losing in regulation today, so Canucks fans can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. However, this game against Vegas wasn't really the best one, I could say. There was a clear MVP from the Vancouver Canucks point of view, and that was none other than Kevin Lankinen, Lank the Tank, who was a total monster in this game. The amount of saves he made in the first period, at the middle part of the second period, in the third period, at the start of it as well, the guy was outstanding. And Lank the Tank, showing off why he had himself that contract extension. Honestly, the goals that were scored against him, only 2 here on the night by Vegas, I mean, they weren't really his fault. You can debate one of them was a result of him being a little bit too aggressive, but at the end of the day, whether or not Lankinen let in 1 goal where it was his fault or 2 goals where it was his fault, the Vancouver Canucks only scored 1. They couldn't beat Adin Hill, who was a little bit shaky himself because, he didn't play at all throughout the Four Nations tournament. Lankinen did. Adin Hill, of course, sat the entire tourney for Jordan Binnington. Him and Sammy Montembeault both did not get any games. Binnington had them all. But in this game, I'd say that Kevin Lankinen had the much more difficult workload, especially in the first 40 minutes. The Canucks did start to pile on more opportunities and chances in the third, but Adin Hill stood tall enough to keep the Canucks at bay. The Canucks, though, we can talk about the fact that they started the scoring off in this game, but I want to talk about all the stuff that happened before the game even had itself a goal. 3 power plays for the Vegas Golden Knights in the first period, all of whom caused by Tyler Myers. Miscommunications on the line changes, just boneheaded plays to call for the guy to replace you, only to not get off the gosh darn ice. Tyler Myers made 2 boneheaded plays during these moments where he was heading off to the bench that just kind of jebaited everybody, and it resulted in 2 too many men calls. The Canucks killed both of them without Tyler Myers, who happens to be one of the more primary penalty killers for this organization, and then Tyler Myers throws the puck over the glass. Fantastic. Amazing to see him do that and get the Canucks down there 3-0 in terms of penalties for in the game. Thankfully, Kevin Lankinen and the Vancouver Canucks killed it all off. My fantasy team's a little bit sore because I do have Stone and Hertl and Eichel on multiple of my teams, so I was like, yeah, I kind of would like for you guys to score a goal, especially on the power play, but of course, the Vancouver Canucks fan in me is like, okay, thank gosh, Kevin Lankinen made all the saves that he needed to, and even the saves that he didn't need to make, he still made them. He was fantastic in the first period there, stopping 13 Vegas shots. In the second period, though, the game gets underway with a goal from Jake DeBrusk. You have Kiefer Sherwood down low, who ends up taking a really interesting route behind the goal as he just kind of skims along the boards. And while he's there, Adin Hill swings his stick back, trying to swat the puck away. Unfortunately, Sherwood is a little bit far from the post. He's going in that direction, but he's a lot more closer to the boards, which leaves Hill vulnerable. He takes himself out of the play by throwing his stick out to the side, losing his momentum, because at that second, Sherwood throws it the opposite way. It takes a hop, and it's Jake DeBrusk right in front, scoring on the Vancouver Canucks' 9th shot of the game. Kevin Bieksa was not liking that play. He wasn't liking the aggression by Adin Hill and the swinging of the stick to the side there, because it really did eliminate him from proper position just for the split second necessary for Vancouver to strike first and early. But you give it a few minutes, 5 minutes later, you had yourselves Ivan Barbashev burying a Victor Olofsson rebound after his own entry. It's an unfortunate play for Lankinen. He makes the initial save, and nobody is tracking Barbashev, who is by himself on that rebound. Both Soucy and Myers don't get the guy behind them. So, yeah, Barbashev has an easy one. A tap-in right in front. Let's take it over to the third period, where the Golden Knights score 18 seconds in. It is Zach Whitecloud with a long shot that deflects off of the end boards. It doesn't really touch Lankinen that much, but it deflects off of the end boards and springs over to Brandon Saad, who is right there, brand new Vegas Golden Knight, after leaving the St. Louis Blues. There was an argument, actually, from Elliot Friedman and Kelly Hrudey debating whether or not this goal should have been goalie interference. The argument from Hrudey's point of view was that Lankinen on the initial shot was touched up by Mark Stone outside of the crease. Elliot Friedman was saying, no, like, you cannot call that goal back for goalie interference. Lankinen was out in the white paint. If you call that goal back, you're going to call a lot more goals back in the NHL. But Kelly Hrudey's argument was interference can take place anywhere, and Mark Stone did indeed touch up Lankinen. However, Vancouver did not challenge. The puck goes off of the end boards. It takes a wild bounce, and Brandon Saad is there. Because Lankinen was so aggressive on the initial shot, which I honestly won't fault him for too much, he wasn't anywhere near to make the rebound save and stop things up with the Brandon Saad shot. That's the 2-1 goal, and then the 3-1 goal. It is Tomas Hertl, assisted by Brett Howden and Nick Waugh. Howden getting 2 assists in this game. He has been underratedly sneaky good in fantasy this year, and I say that just because I had him earlier on in the season. Take a look at me, though. I ended up dropping him, and now he's starting to pop off. Anyways, Vancouver drops this one 3-1. They did have opportunities, they did have chances. I want to talk about Elias Pettersson for a little bit, because there were multiple opportunities that I thought he actually did have some good looks, but instead of capitalizing, instead of ripping a shot on goal, he takes an extra split second and ends up making a pass cross crease or cross ice that doesn't really result in anything. His teammates aren't expecting it. It doesn't look like he's playing with confidence still. This was the same thing that we were talking about in the pregame. Hey, does it really matter if Pettersson's playing or not? You don't notice him. And I guess there were some shifts. In particular, there was one rush in the third period that I thought he looked really good on, where he kind of took the puck over himself in the neutral zone and kind of swooped in, holding his left arm out to protect it while going against the Vegas guys. He brought it into the zone. I thought that was a really good play out of Pettersson, but other than that, I mean, I don't really know if he did anything in this game. Filip Hronek, I thought, looked all right. Lots of good, solid play out of Elias Pettersson. I liked the shots that he was providing. Maybe he didn't have the best passes at times, nor the best puck handling, but I did like the shots. I will encourage offense from the point as much as we can. Filip Chytil, I thought, looked really strong. He was controlling a lot of play with the puck on his stick. The guy is fast. This is ultimately what Rangers fans told all of us, right? That Filip Chytil, when he is on, he is one of the more impactful players on the ice with the way he skates and the way he moves and how he creates offense. Brock Besser just does not hold a candle in terms of play-driving ability. I don't know what's going to happen with that guy, man. Honestly, doomsday clock, right? He might be on his way out in Vancouver at some point. But anyways, it's been a long day of hockey. 14 games on tap here. I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel, firstly, about Tyler Myers' boneheaded first period with 3 minor penalties that were pretty much his fault? What are your thoughts on Elias Pettersson's lack of actual magnitude, importance, and significance and impact in this game? What are your thoughts on the way Filip Chytil played? What are your thoughts on Kevin Lankinen? What are your thoughts on Filip Hronek stepping up as the number 1 D-man as Quinn Hughes is out? I honestly thought that he played pretty well, not gonna lie, but thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign 9, and bye.